Hey, beautiful souls and creative minds. Welcome to the Artist Stoop, the podcast where we turn the art world into your personal playground. I'm Jillian Zapata, your host, and I can't wait to dive into the art world with you. Each episode will be kicking it with an incredible artist, unraveling their stories and turning the spotlight on the magic that happens beyond the brush. Get ready to discover new perspectives, forge connections, and immerse yourself one captivating conversation at a time. So grab your favorite beverage, maybe a sketchbook, and let's jump into the kaleidoscope of creativity together. This is the Artist Stoop, where art isn't just a thing you see, it's an experience you feel. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Artist Stoop. Today we have a special guest. We have Jill Malouf. She is a Dallas-based artist, and she has a great background of actually transitioning from being a lawyer to a full-time artist. She is known for her calming and captivating art style, and she has been recognized as New Texas Talent. And her work can be found in galleries and private collections, and her work has even been on a TV commercial. So welcome, Jill, to the Artist Stew.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Good. When I was thinking about doing the Artist Stoop, you were immediately one of the first people I thought of. And second, you were the first person to respond and set up to be a guest. I was like, yes.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So, how I met you. We were both showing at the other art fair a couple years ago in the fall. And my parents came, you met my parents, and
I remember that.
Yeah, they came over to me and they're like, you have to go over there and you have to meet that other Jill lady. She is so nice and her work is beautiful.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, let's jump right in. So this is one of those things that I find completely fascinating is when someone does a complete shift in their career and it's like two total opposite things. Like you were a lawyer and now you're a full-time artist. How did that shift happen and why did it happen? More or less.
Well, it wasn't planned or intended at all, believe me. And it was, I've always been creative. So I've always enjoyed design and even gardening and things that allow me to put the lawyer brain aside and where you don't have to think about things. But I just started painting it. It was really on a dare from a friend because if you ask me to do something, that's one thing. But if you dare me, I'm all in. So I love that. I bought some paint and this was years ago now. And I painted my first painting. It was horrible, but I was so happy and like that maker's high. I got it instantly where I got this rush and I'm just thinking, I got to keep doing this. And so I did. But, the long answer to going from law to art is, I wasn't even mindful of it at the time. It was just something where I maybe took that approach to law of, hey, if I can do something, I can probably keep getting better and better at it the more I practice. And so it just took a lot of ugly paintings to get to a point where I finally felt good and was getting confident in art. And then I just kind of got to talking with my husband and my law partners, and they said, Jill, you love art, you love painting, and just do that. And so everybody was trying to get me into law, and I'm glad that they kicked me into art even more than I already wanted to do it.
Yeah. So how long have you been a full-time artist? Like, what is that time span?
For over 2 years.
Over 2 years. And
yeah.
How many ugly paintings do you have sitting in the corner that I'll never see?
Oh my God. We're sitting in my studio, and believe me, there's plenty that never see the light of day.
I have those paintings as well.
We all do.
You actually, I remember, so you have your beautiful studio, and I remember watching on Instagram, watching you build it, being so envious of it, because at the time, I think my studio was still a storage unit with no AC, no nothing, and I was watching you build it, and I went, oh man, that's just a beautiful studio. Look at all that white space and that natural light.
Okay, if you do get a studio, and this is for any artist out there, don't paint your floors white.
What are you talking about?
It looks good for a day.
Good to know. But doesn't it just turn into like an art piece in itself? Like it shows the history?
Sure. You can go,
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. So okay, you have behind you right now two different collections, I believe. You have your geode collection and you have your, excuse me if I say, your floored collection.
It's it. You're right.
Okay. And two completely different styles, two completely different types of energy. It has a lot of texture to it. Do you associate those types of textures and those styles of painting with like a theme or a subject that has like a deeper meaning or stories behind it?
I love the idea of layering, and it does tell a story. And I do a lot of spontaneous changes, and I don't usually know how a painting is going to turn out when I start it. So it's not like some lawyerly, methodical approach. It's absolutely the opposite of that. It's intuitive for me. But the texture on, for example, on this geode piece, I love that it kind of draws you in and it makes you look at something and say, how does she do that? So you get kind of this idea of looking at something from afar and then zoning in on it. And I like the notion that maybe people can kind of stop thinking, that we can just focus on something that we enjoy or that we want to know more about and think about nothing else at the moment. And then over here is a painting from my floor series. And I am not a girly girl, but somehow I see myself starting to paint flowers. And you just never know what you're capable of.
Yeah, I second that. I'm not typically a girly girl, but there's something about like this blush pink that I like. I need it in all of my paintings. Like I've never been a pink girl like ever. And when it gets brought in, you're like, that was the touch it needed, So
Exactly.
it's weird how those subject matters, what I find completely interesting in this is that, law was so like strict by the book. You have to follow so many rules with that. And then, which is more of like a masculine energy, but what you're doing, that intuitive painting, like with, and bringing in that feminine energy that's like in you, like out onto the canvas. That's how I see.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That's a great way of saying some of the things that I just intuitively do or put into practice. But you're right. My job for so many years was to make people unhappy, and now I get to make people happy. And it sounds simple, but I am a changed person completely because of that.
Well, every time that I see you, you're always super happy and super like energetic and always have a smile on your face. So the few times that I've gotten to interact with you in person. So on this note of kind of having this calmness, in your bio, you actually state, art doesn't need to overload your senses or be in your face to be captivating. Explain that to me and how you approach your work with that in mind.
Well, I've just never been throw the entire rainbow on a canvas and see what happens kind of person. And yet on the other hand, I don't really think out a palette ahead of time. So I want to be able to, again, draw you in and make you look at something and kind of have the colors and have the textures and all of that do this beautiful dance, but without having to kind of hit you over the head and say, look at me, I'm a big red painting. And I think that also comes texture and texture and layering really, they tell a story that color can't. And I think it's, nice to be able to play with the subtleties of those aspects of painting, and then maybe incorporate some bright colors, but I typically don't do all bright colors in my pieces. It's just not what I personally am drawn to.
Yeah. No, and that, I think that's where you get your calmness, is your color palette. So, you just said something very interesting. You don't pick your color palette before painting?
Nope, I don't.
which is fantastic. That means you're like a super intuitive painter, but like that would drive me batshit crazy.
Well, and putting colors on a palette ahead of time drives me crazy. And maybe it's this whole opposite of law thing where it is just in the moment, really just intuitive and not overthinking something. And maybe my brain has finally said, I've had enough of the analytical approach to life. Let's do something a little more freeing. But, I'll think of like, maybe I'll start with blue, or, like this pin behind me, I knew was going to be a neutral painting.
Mm-hmm.
But, like this pink one here, like you said, I just thought, I love that blush color, and I just thought, let's go big on it. So it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I did more layers on it. So, yeah, I just try to see what colors are going to make nice with each other, and feel like, what friends does blue have, and his good buddy is green, and then, they might invite orange to the party, but orange could be kind of, I don't know, hot-headed and weird, and, but then orange can bring a fun element. So,
I love that so much.
it's just like, I actually envision these colors having a party, and doing stupid stuff. And that is what my brain goes, this is the mode my brain goes into when I'm in the middle of painting, is I don't really, I can't even listen to a book on table I'm painting because I'm so focused, but yet I'm just having fun and really enjoying the process.
Do you listen to music while you paint?
I do. And I love AC/DC. I love 80s music. I love all the European baby music from that. But then I love Billie Holiday, some of the oldies and retro music. And then I have my greatest hits of songs that always, no matter what, make me happy.
Because I know for me, when I put on a song, that energy of that music and that song gets translated to my paintings and how I paint. Does it affect how you paint? Like, depending on what series you work on or the textures and everything?
Yeah, I've been on a Lyle Lovett kick and country kick lately. And but then I'll switch to like 9 Inch Nails for some good rage music. And, it's just, I don't think too hard about it. Just kind of whatever mood I'm in.
I'm just trying to picture you listening to 9 Inch Nails, like in your studio, just like rocking out and like just throwing.
It is exactly how that's how it goes down. Exactly, I know.
Because you're just like this calm, happy, just like, oh, that's nice, yes, whatever. And I could just totally picture Chill just in there going, ah.
Well, I did a painting and I titled it "Don't Call Me Sweet" because I told my father-in-law, who's now deceased, I was like, I only look sweet. So I titled a painting after a favorite expression I love to use with him.
That is awesome. I love that so much. That cracks me up. So with your color palettes, I just want to touch, obviously you attach voices and characters to them now that I know. Do you attach emotions to them? Like while you're painting, because you do have that cool calming palette, but so is this like, is there more like emotions that you're like, oh, I want people to feel this when I do it, so maybe I'll choose this color? Or
gosh, I know that some people do a deep dive into color theory and how colors make us feel, and I wish I were a much deeper person to be able to say that I consider all of those factors, but a lot of times I just I do what I like, and I paint what I would want to hang in my house. And so I hope that those are the feelings that translate and that other people are able to relax and calm, down a little bit, or just kind of shut out the noise in their head. And that's really what painting did for me as a lawyer. That's why I painted and love to paint, because I was able to say, I don't want to think about all the stress and deadlines and crap that's going on. And so that just the painting process, something about having something in your hand and being able to think about what you're doing so intently that you don't have to think about all the other junk that's going on. And I love when people told me that that's the way they felt when they see my paintings, that clicked for me. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing while I was doing it. But now I feel like, well, that's absolutely my mission, is to, bring that calming and yet captivating energy to my paintings so that other people can get that same feeling.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That's because that is exactly. I think that's why my parents came around and they're like, "Oh, we love that big painting of hers. It's so calming. It's the right color palette for our home." And your color palettes are like, from putting my interior designer hat on, from an interior design standpoint, you have such a neutral, calming palette that it can work in so many different interiors. You know, um, and so that's why I think also, and you do such good size paintings that it's just like it's perfect for a wall that it's going to make a statement, and I love that you don't, like, you have some small ones, but I think for the most side you paint pretty substantial size pieces that would make a statement.
I really never painted small, even starting out. And I just somehow love the big canvases. And I'm like, well, as long as I would go to, get into this and open all the paints and set up the studio, I might as well paint big. It was just something I didn't really think too hard through it. And now if somebody wants a really small painting, I struggle with it.
Me too.
Even today. But, you kind of have to maybe get out of your comfort zone sometimes. At least I do.
Yeah, no, I do. Sometimes I'll do like I call them little artist challenges for myself, and I'll like try and pick a small piece of paper or something just to do some like practice, just to get colors on. And I'm like, it's not a full body dance movement party. I feel so constrained. And it's hard, especially, it's really hard, because I think what a lot of people who aren't artists don't understand is, like, when you're painting on a big canvas, it's a dance. It's a full on, like, full body movement, and there's a lot of energy that goes into it from your body that gets translated onto the canvas. And so, yeah, when you're constrained to like something and it's just your arm moving or whatever, it's hard.
I agree. I hold my brushes differently in a small painting. Every square inch matters. And I don't like having to really think something through so carefully. I want to be able to just allow for spontaneous changes and surprises. And that's why I like the bigger canvases.
Me too. Is there a particular piece of work that has any like deeper meaning or any like story attached to it?
Yes. And but there's so many different stories behind each of my paintings, but one of them was a painting of just one koi fish on a background. And part of the reason there's just one koi fish is I thought, I love how this one turned out. I think if I add another one, it's not going to turn out this well. But I started thinking about, well, what is this painting? And then and I'm going to leave out the part of the story that maybe, well, I'll put it in this terms. The title is Koi Fish Narcissist. And I just love the idea that this koi fish has an ego that's so big it fills the entire canvas. And, we all know someone like that in our lives. I'll put it that
We sure do.
And and then I painted another one, same idea, one koi fish on the background, and I named it Koi Dependent Koi Fish. And I just thought, I hope that somebody guessed the humor behind these. And somebody did. They bought both of them. They hung them in the foyer of their home on the Texas coast. And it was kind of a nod from the wife to the husband about their dynamic. And they joke about it. And I thought that was hilarious.
Could you imagine the dinner parties that they have with people coming over and knowing that story behind that? And someone comes in and goes, "Wow, those are lovely paintings." And the husband goes, "Yeah, yep, it's fish." And the wife goes, "Let me tell you all about it." You know, let me tell you why I bought it. Here's the title of it. Here's the double meaning.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. So, question, this is more maybe for the other artists and maybe myself asking more than anything. How did you get your art on a TV commercial?
Because another artist friend was sick. And she had, and this is, I'll tell you, this story tells you that as to other artists, always reach out, make connections with artists, not just online, do it in person.
Yeah.
Make it a concerted effort every week to either try to go, have coffee with somebody or go see their show, whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But an artist friend of mine had done work with a company that produces TV commercials. She got sick, and so she said, "Hey, here's an opportunity, and they are producing a commercial for Dell Computer."
Oh, cool.
And so Dell ended up taking 2 pieces for the commercial, and that was really neat. And one of them sold, and so but I still have the other one, and I think that's a nice memento to keep.
I think that's awesome. That's really special. Like when you get to say, and it's on TV, you're like, "There's my art. There's my art."
And by the way, other artists, you should know that, a lot of times you might get a call from someone like, "What do you have right now immediately available that I can come pick up in like an hour?" It's I've had designers call and say, we're at the end of a project, I need art, what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know your sizes, your colors, and keep an inventory system. Once you start using more than you can remember all in our head. So there's pieces of advice that I got, and it doesn't sound exciting, but it's to just build your inventory up because you never know what opportunities you're going to get.
You say interior designers tend to reach out to you quite a bit, sometimes last minute, and you just make sure that you have like inventory on hand ready to go at any moment. How often does that actually happen for you?
It happens more than I would have ever expected. And like just a couple of weeks ago, a friend who's a designer is working on a project in Newport Beach, California. And she said, "Listen, I've got this great client. She needs a piece between these sizes, this and this size, and it needs to be horizontal. And here are the colors." And so I love this kind of challenges when someone's like, "Okay, go." There's like a reality TV show where you're like, "What can I find and how fast?" And so I found this piece and had a lot of greens in it and blues and even a little purple. And I just got a picture yesterday of what it looks like in her house above her fireplace. And that's so gratifying to me that, I never know sometimes when I'm painting these pieces where they're going to end up. And then getting to that, it's almost like I've just closed the loop, and it's just this amazing feeling of knowing that I've just made somebody else happy and help them do something to a room that's going to bring them joy.
Yeah, that it's definitely very satisfying. I think for all of us artists, knowing that someone is enjoying this labor of love that we've put into it, and they actually get to have that little piece of us with them, in their home. Where can people buy and find your art? Like, so for all of our listeners, because that's like the main goal of this podcast is to connect potential collectors with new artists. Where can people find your work, see it in person, and buy it from you?
Well, I appreciate that. And if I don't mind plugging a little bit, so I'm in galleries in Virginia, Tennessee, and Texas. And my newest one is in Dallas. And I've actually got a show opening tomorrow. But you can go to my website, Jill Malouf, MALOUF.com. And if you see a piece or a style that you like, you can reach out to me or I can connect you with one of my galleries. And that's how I'll either sell through the galleries if a piece is there, or you can reach out to me directly.
Gotcha. And are all paintings that you sell, are they mostly just originals, or do you ever do reproductions or prints, or how do you go about that?
I have not yet done prints, but I've been asked to do that. And there are certain, pros and cons to doing that. But for right now, it's all original art.
Okay, awesome. That's totally fine. It's honestly, in my opinion, it's probably easier just to stick to the original paintings, because then you have to go through the trouble of photographing it, make sure like the lighting's all perfect, and then then you have to find a print shop that like you have to get test prints. So it's a whole lot of loops to jump through to get prints made. Is there anything else about your artwork that you would want like a potential collector or anyone to know about your work that we haven't already touched on?
I love to work in different series, and I don't necessarily just work on a bunch of paintings of geodes and then switch to flowers and then switch to just pure abstract. But I love to have different styles because depending on the day, I might want to work on a pure abstract piece like the pink one behind me, or a flower piece like this one called Angel Wings behind me there. And so I think it's nice. I've had collectors that have 6, 7, 8 pieces of mine and throughout their house, and they've said to me that it's nice that it doesn't look like the same artist painting all of the paintings, and they can still see my hand throughout them. So I love that. I love being able to have repeat collectors and people who I've connected with, and I love painting for those personal connections. I mean, to me, that is just the icing on the cake, and it really gets me motivated to just get up in the morning, paint as much as I can, and then when my body conks out at the end of the day, to just relax, maybe have a glass of wine. But and I then get up and do it again, and I love my life.
Yeah. Do you paint every day?
Not every day, but there's always every day, 7 days a week, always doing something related to art.
That's awesome. That's to me, that's living the dream. I think that's like every artist is just like, yep, get up, paint, do everything that you have to do. Because at the end of the day, like what a lot of collectors or sometimes people don't always see is that being an artist, it is a career. It's a full-time job. You have to be social media manager. You have to be business manager. You have to, network. You have to actually produce all the paintings. Like there's so many different aspects to being an artist instead of just painting.
You're a photographer, your own marketing department,
yeah. So
and I'll be honest, I had people doing things for me at the law firm, and as an artist, you are the solo show and doing it all yourself. And I've just learned that there are things that I don't want to do, and I will outsource those all the time. But I update my own website. I do my own social media. I do not stretch my own canvases. I do not do my own framing. And they're just things that I'm not good at, and I will pass on, and I don't enjoy. But I think actually I am going to need help with the website and other things, because even that has gotten to be kind of
it's a lot.
You don't realize what a time vacuum some of these things are, because I want to do things the right way and not compromise. But
exactly.
we'll see. I can clone myself.
If we all
get another Jill. Yeah, maybe a third Jill. That's right.
it'll be Jill, Jillian, and then Jilly. So it'll be like one of every version.
Right. I like that. I mean, formidable.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really, really appreciate you being one of my very first guests on the Artist Stoop. And so you have a show coming up. So you will be, it's here in Dallas, right? And what gallery is that at?
It's DHV Artworks near the Design District. And I've got a show
How long
coming up, and we have an opening, and but my works will be there permanently, so anybody can go by in Dallas and check them out. So I'd love for you guys to do that.
I love that permanently thing. So you'll have, if they sell, you'll be on rotation. I love that. So if you're local to Dallas, people, DHV Gallery, and you can go and see Jill's work in person. And I will put all of her links to her website and her Instagram and everything in the show notes, and some of the paintings that we were talking about, so you guys can see what we were going on about. So thank you again, everyone, and thank you, Jill, for being a guest on the Artist Stoop.
Thank you.
And that, my friends, wraps up another colorful episode of the Artist Stoop. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their art and stories. If you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on the next Stoop chat. And don't forget to spread the love. Share your favorite episodes with fellow art enthusiasts, and let's build this community together. Connect with us on social media at JGuze Studio and Jillian Zepeda Art for behind-the-scene peeks, artist spotlights, and a sneak peek at my own art. Until next time, stay inspired, stay curious, and keep that creative fire burning. This is Jillian Zepeda signing off from the Artist Stoop. And remember, the world is your canvas, so paint it vividly.